Your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, what happened?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." He's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the and I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
Yeah.
That's horrible. He had to experience that and see his brother like literally in front of him. That's sick, man.
Lamar stated views.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode here on the Bridge Reacts, and I'm your host here on the channel, Marcus. Thank you so much for stopping by to see another episode of Here on the Bridge. We believe in long-lasting relationships, of course, stronger marriages, stronger connections, stronger relationships, bridging the gap between men and women, and ending the whole gender war BS. We don't care about that. We want to do better and be better for the culture, for the community, for the future generations. If you like we talk about here on the channel, please subscribe, like button, and notification bell as well. Welcome to the channel. Really appreciate you. Today's topic, we are talking about two young kids. I think they're in high school, I believe. They were actually in this altercation, and the black community, or a large sum of the black community, not saying all or most, but an alarming amount. Let's use that. I like to use that phrase. An alarming amount of the black community are trying to raise this, activism and stand up for this young gentleman. I believe his name is Carmelo Anthony, like the basketball player, but not the basketball player, and how he actually did away with Mr. Austin Metcalf, I believe is his last name, and the really polarizing stuff going between that, and how this whole video is literally right from wrong. It's not supposed to be a race thing. It's not supposed to be this whole, black versus white or any of that BS, right versus wrong. And I'll let, of course, Think Before You Sleep take it away. And please check out the original content creator. The video is called The New Race War. Pretty heavy. Let's go ahead and get straight to it and leave my final thoughts for the very end of the video. Let's get it.
A track meet in Frisco, Texas on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. A 17-year-old high school student named Carmelo Anthony stabbed and killed another 17-year-old named Austin Metcalf. After this happened, a Give Send Go fundraiser was made to help with Carmelo's legal defense, and it raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, with supporters of Carmelo and BLM activists not only saying a bunch of racist shit and approving of the murder, but...
Wait. What? Okay. See, this is stuff like this. The retaliation. And I'm going to let the video play. We need to be mature. If you're here on the bridge, if you're watching this, we're about building bridges. We're not about burning them. Whether that is in relationships, within yourself, communities, races, amongst different races. It doesn't matter. Like, it's about, we are all people. At the end of the day, we're all children of God. That's the way that I look at it, and it's the way that this channel looks at it. If you don't like that, this might not be the channel for you. But if you believe in that, welcome, right?
But also saying that Carmelo is innocent of wrongdoing because the stabbing was self-defense. Now, I agree that everyone deserves their day in court, and Carmelo deserves due process. However, after reading the police report, the likelihood that this will qualify as self-defense in court is almost zero. I'll be adding some extra context to the report, but here it is. There was a light drizzle outside during the track meet, and the officer reported that Carmelo was under a tent that was designated for a different school. Because of that, Austin Metcalf, the victim, and his brother Hunter Metcalf asked Carmelo to leave. Carmelo refused to leave and responded by saying, "Touch me and see what happens." After continuing to refuse to leave, at some point Carmelo is pushed by the victim, Austin, and then he follows up by saying, "Punch me and see what happens." Last, Carmelo stabs Austin Metcalf, runs away, and ditches the murder weapon. Now, there are a couple of different
Okay. That escalated really quickly. I didn't know too much about this. I'm going to pause just for a second. I didn't know too much about this story. It's been going on for a little while. I think 3-4 weeks now, maybe even longer. I'm a little late to this. That's a lot, especially high school. It's like, why do you even have a knife on you? Like, shouldn't have a weapon on you at all, but
versions of the story with slight alterations. So I'll let Austin's brother Hunter, who was standing right next to him, say what happened.
Your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, what happened?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the and I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
Yeah.
That's horrible. He had to experience that and see his brother like literally in front of him. That's sick, man.
So that's just what I saw.
So to argue for self-defense in Texas, your life has to be in immediate danger. Now, the BLM types will point out that the two Metcalf brothers were quite a bit larger than Carmelo, and that's why his life was in danger. However, this happened in broad daylight, and a ton of people were around, and the Metcalf...
I mean, or you could have just catch the fade, like taking someone's life or like using a weapon and then running. You could have just ran. You still left. What was the point of saving? You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying?
brothers showed no intent of using heavy or lethal force.
There was never a punch even thrown. So I don't care. There was never a phone broken. We've never had contact with this individual ever.
Not only that, but let's bring up that statute again. In the law, it says that if you provoke the person who you used lethal force against, which Carmelo reportedly did, then you can't claim it's self-defense. So in my amateur internet lawyer opinion, Carmelo is screwed. You don't get to stab someone because they picked up...
This isn't Florida. I think where the stand your ground law, the George Zimmerman and the, Trayvon Martin, different states have different laws. I get that, but it's like this, even that was wrong. You all know that George Zimmerman was absolutely wrong.
Your bag and pushed you after you asked them to put hands on you. I mean, if someone got stabbed every time a kid was pushed when I was in school, then at least half the student population wouldn't have lived to see graduation.
Same here.
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
That's
right,
horrible.
That's what it sounds like. He was looking for a fight or looking to steal people's unprotected items like this commenter said. He ended up causing that fight and then used lethal force because he was mad. And now not only is this 17-year-old kid permanently scarred from having to watch his twin brother die while frantically trying to keep him alive, but Carmelo also emotionally scarred everyone close to Austin Metcalf.
My other son is just crushed. And I feel for him now, and he'll never be the same. None of us will. Grief, we all go through it, but the thing about grief is you don't get over it. You just learn to live with it.
Yeah, I don't think you ever really get over your son or your brother or your best friend.
Didn't even just die, it was murdered. Son was murdered. Like, just foolishly murdered. Horrible.
I've known plenty of people who've had those they were close to die, and they still aren't over it like a decade later or more. So understand why a lot of people are outraged that Carmelo's school still wants to allow him to graduate, despite the fact that even if he did get off with a self-defense charge, which he almost certainly won't, he still brought a weapon to school and started a fight, which is easy grounds for expulsion. Why should he get to graduate after breaking school rules when Austin Metcalf will never get to graduate? And so because Carmelo is almost certainly guilty of murder, unless there's some info that we're unaware of, the real grift must begin to try to beat the charges. And the grift is quite ridiculous. I mean, Carmelo and his legal team are some of the dumbest criminals on the planet. You can read the full police report where it says that an officer called Carmelo the alleged suspect, followed by Carmelo spontaneously saying,
"The alleged suspect." Why would you say, "I am not alleged, I did it"? He admitted it. Wow.
"I'm not alleged, I did it." Literally confessed to a murder right in front of the police. Even worse for Carmelo's defense, his family picked some black activist lawyer named Dominic Alexander, who I swear...
He looks like a grifter. This is not a joking video to make a lot of jokes and poke fun at anything, but he looks like, look at him. He looks like a grifter.
It's just like that race grifting character from that episode of the Boondocks, where they tried to bully the school for $500,000 because a teacher said the N-word.
I have a message for the Woodcrest School District.
Bravo, good love. What's that two-bit hustler doing here?
You have assaulted this fine family's dignity, you have assassinated their pride, and you have hurt their feelings. Now, somebody gonna pay.
Don't listen to him, Granddad. He just wants to use us to give press for a stupid sitcom on BET.
The scary thing is that this episode of the Boondocks is almost 20 years old, and it still applies like it was written yesterday. So Carmelo's lawyer and his activist group hold this press conference to, I guess, give everyone a more positive outlook on the defendant. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm editing Marcus here on the Bridge Reacts, Bridge Between Us, the Bridge, the channel that you are watching today. And I want to talk about today's sponsor. It won't take long at all. If you need some kind of mobile detailing instead of driving far and wide looking for someone who is reliable, who has great customer satisfaction, how about call somebody or text somebody who will come to you? And they do exactly that. When it comes to cars, trucks, vans, motorcycles, even marine vehicles, if it's a vehicle, holler at them, check them out, text them or call them at this number right here, 804-204-9028. That's 804-204-9028. He'll get you right, man. Make sure that your vehicle is sparkling, looking nice inside and outside. He got you. Thank you so much for Royal Treatment Mobile Detailing for sponsoring today's video. Back to the video.
Y'all, I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. Today, I come before you with a heavy heart, but determined in spirit. Not just as an advocate, but as a black man. Black people in America don't have to pull the race card. I ain't pulling no.
Is that supposed to be his mom? She looks like she's like 29, maybe 31. And he's supposed to be 17. Did she have him when she was like 14?
Race card. I live it. I'm reminded all the time that I'm a black man in America.
I mean, if you don't want to be reminded of your race, then maybe you shouldn't open up your speech with, as a black man, as you use this press conference to promote your race-based activist group.
This is not just about Carmelo. It's about the family who dare to stand and demand justice in a return and receive ugliness that racism in this country still breeds. As the president of the...
I'm confused. So you're saying your defense is that your client, which is Carmelo Anthony, not the basketball player, I have to say that. Carmelo Anthony told the other kid, he said, no, don't touch me. Try to push him and pull him away. You know, leave. You can't be here. Don't touch me. Just stab, and then runs away. And he leaves ultimately. So he still left, but he took someone's life before he left, which was, what was the point of doing that if you were going to leave regardless? I don't get that. So, and then you claim that it's a race thing, even though your client is alive when the other person who's the victim and was murdered by your client, but it's a race thing. Do you understand this? I don't get it. You're grifting, right?
Next Generation Action Network. We will never ask the oppressor for permission to liberate our people. We are not scared. We are not moving.
The victim's family is scared. What are you talking about? Why would you be scared?
Wait, did I just hear a smoke detector beep?
We are not moving.
Anyway,
hey,
I love how
Kelly, you had no business. He added that in. No way. No way. The hood cricket strikes again.
The family of the killer's immediate legal strategy is to poison the culture into a race war in the hopes of getting special treatment from the legal system. Real generous of you to not only harm the Metcalfs with this event, but also the entirety of America. You guys are real assholes. This is despite the fact that Austin's father, Jeff Metcalf, who is actually a victim, who was actually wronged,
literally,
and has been swatted multiple times over this event, went on the news earlier before this press conference.
Y'all are swatting the father, the victim of the father. Why are we attacking people who are actually being victimized by our own people who we are defending because of racism? Like, what does... See, stuff like this is why a lot of other people more than likely look at our race, not in totality, but some of our people, like the grifter here, the minister, as, you know, very unhinged individuals. And this is a terrible example of our people, like, because it's like, I can see why I'd be very enraged if I was already on the fence and already felt some type of way and discriminatory against the community when I probably shouldn't have been in the first place. But this kind of shit does not help.
Friends saying that he didn't want to escalate this by making it about race.
This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this.
Bars, bro. Shout out to the father. You had a lot of balls, restraint to be able to even step up and say that in the midst of being attacked for being a victim. And you didn't choose to be a victim. It happened to your child. Like, it's just disgusting behavior from the opposing side that's promoting this, who's attacking him and his family, who've already lost a son to an overly emotional boy that probably doesn't have a real father or man there. because it's like, why would he have done that in the first place?
Given the person who stabbed him, God's going to take care of everything. And if we all don't come together, black, white, yellow, brown, I don't care. It's all about human beings.
Wow, I don't know how many visits to a church it takes to get that kind of peaceful mentality, but if it was my kid, I wouldn't have been so nice. Actually, Jeff Metcalf happened to show up to the Carmelo press conference to, I guess, break bread and pray with them in the hopes of making peace and showing unity.
What? Show them that we are united. That's amazing. The father came up and tried to like pray with them.
But of course, Carmelo's team's legal strategy is to increase division, so they didn't want Jeff Metcalf there, and Carmelo's lawyer handles his presence at the conference in the worst possible way.
What we've seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
I'm going to wrap this up.
Next Generation Action Network.
Right. Don't forget to plug the name of your organization 20 more times while the cameras are rolling.
He's a fucking grifter. Yeah, this guy. Anyways, you can watch the rest of this video. I kind of like started at a certain part, like 3 minutes, 2 minutes in, something like that, and just let it play. There's so much more to this video. There's a lot here. Give me my final thoughts at the very end. Here's my final thoughts. So, yeah. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And it's a damn shame that we've gotten to a point where a lot of individuals who may look like you, who look very similar to myself, black and brown people, African Americans, black, whatever, Aboriginals, indigenous, whatever you want to call us, right? And we've been pushed to believe that everything's against us 24/7 all day, every day in 2025, still to this day. Even if you have your own business, you have all the opportunities, and that everyone else has, there's no difference. I mean, yes, again, there are microaggressions, there are systemic things potentially within the systems in certain, levels, and I guess in corporate America, stuff like that. I get that. I'm not excusing that. However, what am I even trying to say? It's a lot. This is a heavy subject. My main thing is for this video is that, because back to the very beginning where they were trying to say that like, hey, they killed all of our people, blah, 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 for years. And that doesn't justify murdering somebody else. I don't understand that. Just like, the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, the George Zimmerman thing. I believe personally a lot of these things were wrong, and that doesn't excuse it. Just like the George Floyd to a degree. Yeah, if I was the officer, I wouldn't have put my knee on George Floyd's neck, especially for 2 minutes while he's saying he can't breathe and he's calling out to his dead mother. I wouldn't have done that. I think that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's not right for you to now defend and praise another young black male killing another young white male in retaliation, or we can put our little, tally on the board. Now we got a lick back. Like, that's stupid. Like, why would you want that? What kind of mentality is that? Because then all you're gonna scream and cry if another black person's killed. Just like that young man that was like mysteriously murdered in high school, and his body was rolled up in like one of the I forget what it's called, like the wrestling mats, and his organs were missing, which is really, really weird. Even more to that story, right? It's really wrong. It's horrifying. It's terrible. But it doesn't justify by having one of our own kill one of that. Like, that's stupid. And the main thing for this video, right is right, wrong is wrong. And especially the young men out here, we cannot be overly emotional. We can't do stupid shit like this little fucking jit, YN, Carmelo Anthony. We can't do that. He should go to jail. Absolutely, for murder. There is no, stop defending this. We're not defending this behavior. We denounce it. It's wrong. It's horrible. He murdered that kid. And why should he be able to graduate if this kid can't even go back home to his parents and his family? Why should he be defended if the other kid cannot even walk and, have his own family one day and grow up and grow old? Why should he be able to walk and live his life? That's the whole point, man. I don't think it's right. But you can let me know in the comment section your stance on this. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I mean, some people think things are subjective. I get where sometimes there's a gray line to certain things, but this is clear-cut case. Like, you can't, like, how can you defend this? I don't know, man. Unless you're grifting and you're trying to promote your your website or whatever, just like that one horrible minister guy. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Heavy topic, and hopefully you made it to the very end. It's a long video, but I'm trying to chop it up. You guys have a nice one, and happy Memorial Day, all that cool stuff. If you're off, please like the video. You guys have a nice one.